stores, things like Envy or Jazz or Sweet Tango or Ludacris. They have excellent names. That are apples that are proprietary managed brands. They're not something that just anybody can grow. They are often managed by cooperatives or companies or international consortiums that are very careful about the branding of the apple, about supply and demand, and just the entire marketing of it as a product in a way that the apples of not so long ago that we're familiar with, including the Red Delicious, but also things like Gala or, a wine sap, were not managed in that way.
So, years ago, there were thousands of varieties of just wild apples. How would farmers or scientists come up with new apple varieties? What was the process?
The process of breeding apples is fairly simple, but what's interesting about it is that the plant doesn't breed true to the parent. So what you do is grafting instead of planting the seeds. But yeah, as you say, like in the 19th century, some counts show that in the United States people were growing 14,000 different varieties of apples.
Really?
And then the story in the 20th century was very much standardization and consolidation. Here in Washington, the Washington State Apple Commission used to advertise using a poster that showed a stoplight, and there was one apple each in red, yellow, and green, because, that was all you needed.
The way you would get a new hybrid, say, is you would cross-pollinate from one tree to another. Is that how they do it? And then today, is that still how they do it, or is there a more sophisticated way of crossbreeding?
So at the Washington State University breeding program, they get 10,000 new trees in a year, and each and every one of them is genetically distinct. And they plant them out and give them a few years to produce fruit, and then taste that fruit, and from there go back into the lab to do detailed testing on the storage and starch levels and all kinds of details on the apples that appear to be the most likely to be successful. But it's still very much a melding of traditional biology and sophisticated lab work.
But the problem is, unlike a fruit fly with a fairly short lifespan, it's going to take 7-8 years to start bearing fruit for an apple tree, something like that?
It can be less than that, but the process is long because you want to have multiple generations of fruit. They'll start with just a few trees, and as it appears that the fruit is more successful, they'll have more trees, and so you have to wait for that generation. One of the people that I interviewed said, biology is just a real problem here, which is funny because an apple is a biological product, but